Shea, I know this is always a special trip for you. How good is it just to be home and sleep in your own bed?
Yeah, it's obviously it's great. I think you kind of take it for granted sometimes in the off season when you're, grinding through 162 games, just being able to get 3 or 4 days at home, get to see your family, your close friends and stuff like that. It's huge.
Yeah, I mean to have the parents and I know your wife and her family. You have a big group there. It's just some guys struggle when they go back home. Obviously, you haven't. It's got to be very comforting having everybody there at the ballpark.
Yeah, for sure. I think just getting to, see all those people, just the comfortability factor of, having them around and, spending your mornings with them and then heading to the ballpark and then getting to play baseball on top of it is just, it's special.
And then there's just certain places like when you step into the building, you feel all hitterish. It just feels good to be here. You see the ball well. With the dinger yesterday, that's now 8 home runs in this ballpark. What is it when you step on this field? You just go, yeah, I'm ready to rock.
I think it's just kind of just being home in general. It just puts you in a good state of mind. You're happy. Your family's there. Just honestly, just feel more at ease, more comfortable. I don't know if it specifically has anything to do with the ballpark. I think it's more about just being home.
Let's talk about the bullpen. The bullpen in wins this year has a 0.67 ERA, which is absolutely outstanding. Just
Yeah.
talk about the bullpen and catching these guys and how good they've been in your 15 wins.
Yeah, I mean they've been great. Obviously you're going to have your ups and downs through 162 games. It's so many games. We're going to have nights like we had last night. It's going to happen. There's no way around it. But as a whole, as a unit, they've done a great job. Like you said, and um, the 0.67 ERA in the games we've won is, it just shows you when they come in when the game's close and we have the lead, they're getting the job done. And that's all we can ask of them.
How important is it as a catcher that you really get to know all these guys? And sometimes guys are coming up and down from Las Vegas, but because these are the high leverage moments in the game, you need to know how these guys tick, how they
Mhm.
react, what's it like when the bullets are flying, how do these guys perform? So, just how important is it to get to know them personally and really know who they are and what their game's all about?
Yeah, it's super important. Probably the most important thing is me knowing each of them individually, off the field, on the field, everything. Kind of just who they are as a person, how they think, stuff like that. Because I mean, on any given night, any pitcher can come into the game and not have a certain pitch, and we've got to reroute, or they're not comfortable doing a certain thing, and we've got to change the game plan. So it's kind of you always start with your A plan, and then you could be on B, C, D by the end of the night. So you just got to be able to, be quick on your feet, think on the fly, and knowing each individual guy helps that out tremendously.
Let's get into JP Sears because I think this is really interesting, right? When you grow up left handed, your weapon is you get lefties out, like you
Hmm.
dominate lefties. Well, now you get to the big leagues and now they stack all right handers against you. So that weapon's gone, right? So you
Yeah.
need to have something as a left hander when you don't throw super hard that comes in on right handers, right in on their hands. To
Hmm.
watch JP Sears evolve, to have that sweeper that comes in on the righties, to be able to throw the fastball inside, kind of the game
Hmm.
plan at him. Talk about he's evolved into a guy that's doing real well getting righties out.
Yeah, I mean, just to start with him in general, he's a bulldog, man. He's going to go out there every fifth day. He's going to give you everything he's got, regardless if he has his stuff or not. He's going to empty the tank, and then on top of that, he's one of the hardest working people I've ever been around, and he makes the people around him better too, just by how hard he works and um, you know the greatness he strives to accomplish, essentially. And but yeah, his development. I mean, I've caught him so much at this point that we basically think the same when he's out there on the mound. So it goes pretty smooth, and us just kind of figuring it out together. Him tweaking with his arsenal here and there, making adjustments, and then me just continually getting to catch him and get more and more comfortable together, and that's how you have to get what you have to do to get big league hit.
You know, something that we never talk about, because we talk about these pitchers, they go to the pitching labs and they're always working on new stuff and new pitches. The sweeper was the rage. Now it's the kick change. But what people don't think about is you've got to learn those new pitches and you've got to understand what they do. No one ever talks about the catchers. Everybody just talks about pitchers changing. What's that like from the time you're Baylor to where you are now? There's new pitches that you've never seen before, and you got to learn how to deal with them.
Yeah, I think you know, with as prevalent as that stuff is in the game now, when a guy is working on a pitch, even up to the point where they're ready to break it out in a game, I would say more often than not, it's pretty inconsistent. It's not going to do the same thing every single time. So you kind of you can't really expect it to, you know, let's just say on a sweeper, the average is like 15 horizontal. It's not going to be 15 horizontal every time they throw the new sweeper. So it's little things like that, and you just have to be aware of, you know, if like for example with JP, it's like he's got his sweeper down. I pretty much know I can expect what it's going to do every single time. But you know, other times when you make a little adjustment, it's like, okay, I got to be more on my toes, and this might not be as consistent as I think it's going to be.
Luis Severino, I say this all the time. When you play in New York, we're talking Yankees and Mets. When you play as long as he did, pitching all those playoff games, you can't be soft. You're not going to be a soft dude. No, and you bring him in to be the guy. What's it like developing this relationship with him? Obviously, he is such a special talent.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome up to this point. Just how he thinks about the game. You know, how everything he does, you know, is intentful and there's a purpose behind it. It's honestly just to watch how he goes about his day. It's just the little things that you know, when you say somebody's truly a big leaguer, it's kind of like you want to be a sponge and kind of just take all that stuff in and just watch how they operate and how they do stuff. And obviously I'm on the receiving end of that too, just getting to, you know, catch him and understand how he thinks, and you know, it's getting smoother and smoother.
All right, we played before you came on the Get to Know Shea Langeliers video that you did in spring training. How many times have you had to explain, I'm named after Shea Stadium, my middle name's Nolan Ryan? How many times have you had to do that?
I've had to do it a lot over my lifetime for sure. Just you know, explaining my dad was a Mets fan growing up because my grandpa was a Yankees fan, so they had that natural going against each other. My dad was born in 1969, the 69 Mets. He graduated high school in 86, the 86 Mets. So you just kind of have that connection to him, and that's kind of how it happened.
Well, thank God it was Shea Stadium. You could have been named City after City Field.
I've gotten that a lot too.
All right, let's end on this. You can't tell me the most famous person in your Rolodex is Mark Kotsay. There's got to be somebody else.
I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to stick with Mark Kotsay as the most famous
You're going Kotsay, the 17-year big leaguer, your manager?
Yeah.
Oh, God. You know, that's something, too, that's it's very important. You know, people just don't know. Catching is so different because you're the only position where you look at everybody and they look at you. And you really are. If there is a quarterback, we know how important the quarterback position is in football. You really are the catcher is the quarterback. Everybody's looking at you. You've got to have the relationship with Scott Emerson. You've got to have the relationship with Mark Kotsay. It is important that you have that because he's got to trust you, right? Because he's going to ask you, does this guy have it? I mean, there's a lot of honesty that has to go on between you and the manager.
Yeah, 100%. I think, you know, that honesty and relationship just it comes naturally the more games you play. You know, the more experiences you have, the more, you know, ups and downs that you go through. It's just that's going to get that relationship, that honesty, that trust is going to get better and better. And then, you know, that's you know, winning ball clubs obviously have that stuff down. That stuff goes over smoothly and transitions smoothly and stuff like that.
Hey, great stuff as always. We appreciate it. I know it's great to be home. Enjoy. Keep raking at Globe Life Field, and we'll see you back in West Sacramento.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Tommy.